Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. I present to you EG Puma going up against Mao's HasuObs. This is the Kingston HyperX match to remember. Guys, we are in for such a treat. This Terran vs. Protoss is going to be absolutely disgustingly good.
Absolutely. This is going to be insane, man. Terminus SE, great macro map. It's going to be Puma versus HasuObs. Puma, of course, the Season 1 NASL champion. This guy is unbelievable. He had to take out MC to get that first place spot, so clearly his TVP is on an unbelievably insane level. The guy is just, I mean, he's just been exploding into the scene in the last couple of months, doing so well now in the EG house training. HasuObs, on the other hand, really talented Protoss player from Europe.
Yeah, he did make the top 16 finals to Season 1, and I think, you know, we might see him in Season 2 again. He's looking so good as of late. Now, Puma is back in Korea, unfortunately. He was training in the EG house a while, but, you know, I got a chance to talk to everybody, and really Puma was still practicing very well. He was practicing on the Korean server, and also he had like one session we went 20 games straight with Idra. That is insane.
You won 20 games straight?
No,
you played 20. Okay. You played 20. I was about to say, like, I can't believe Idra would keep playing, you know, the 20 games in a row.
Oh, yeah, that would be tough. And you know what, Orb, I'm already so happy because for this Kingston HyperX match to remember, we have cross position stars out on Terminus. I would have hated to see, like, close positions, maybe favoring the Terran particularly.
Yeah.
But, you know, we do have cross positions. It's going to be a nice long macro game.
Absolutely. This is going to create a situation where Puma can go for a gasless expansion if he wants. I would assume that's what he'll be going for here. He really likes that style. It is the Korean style. We'll have to see. I mean, he might still throw it on the gas, but on a map like this, you have such a long rush distance that it would take so long for something like a 2-racks or a 1-on-1 to get to your opponent. Probably wouldn't be the smartest move, so we do see him not throwing down that gas. It's just going to be a gasless expansion, and you also have like a nice little choke point outside the natural, so it's not that hard to defend with a couple of bunkers. It's not as wide open as some other maps, so he'll be able to take that expansion pretty early on, get a nice little macro lead, and you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see both these players go for pretty darn quick third bases as well.
Yeah, I would love third bases coming out. Of course, if the longer and longer we get to macro games, the really the more complex the game gets, and that's when it really gets to start being so exciting, tingly in the belly, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely exciting. We do see that HasuObs is not opting to the Zealot in this early game stage just yet. Is he actually going to throw one down? What's also interesting to note is he used a lot of Chrono Boost on the Nexus. Of course. So he's going very probe-centric. We can see already 18 to 15, a huge difference in Harvesters right away.
It's very understandable in PvT on a map like this. First off, in PvT in general, people wouldn't be saving up the Chrono like they would perhaps in PvZ, PvT, or PvP, excuse me. Yeah, you want to get that first stalker out. That's generally the only Chrono that gets thrown down besides the Chronos on the probes, because you want to get that stalker out early to be able to go check out your opponent's base, maybe see what they have up the ramp, possibly get a put on some pressure against some Marines as you regenerate those shields. But we do see the second gas from HasuObs, so he's not going to be actually going for any type of quick one gate, one gas expand here. That would be a little strange in PvT. Not that many people do that, but it still could conceivably be a one gate expansion. But with that double gas, it does leave some options available to him. He could possibly go for some type of tech play. Nice job blocking that SCV from actually getting any information. So good micro on that Stalker by HasuObs.
The Stalker is going to press up a little bit. He does want to take a little bit of map control, or a map presence at least, and maybe even deny this Xel'Naga tower. With only Marines out on the field, it's very easy for Stalkers to kill them. And we do see the first Stalker coming up, and the Marine has to scat out of the way.
And you know what? It is going to be a one-gate expansion there. Double gas, one-gate expand will allow HasuObs to have a lot of gas saved up. So if he wants to, he can tech up pretty quickly out of this, add on that robo if he's paranoid about the possibility of some type of cloak play. But I think the fact that he sees the bunker at the natural with all these Marines here, it's going to let him know pretty definitively that Puma is most likely going for the expansion. And that he should be pretty safe, and he is going to go ahead and add on the 2 additional gateways in the robo. So just the most standard possible transition here from HasuObs.
Yep, and look at this. An SCV will be able to get in here and see exactly what HasuObs is doing. Sees that this is a pretty standard response to a fast expansion that Puma is doing. You know, nothing out of the ordinary. That's what we normally expect, though, from HasuObs. HasuObs is a very standard player. He likes that end game. He likes to just go there and be as robust as possible. And Puma, I think, is just going to oblige to that. Look at that. He just throws down 3 3 add-ons, and he's preparing for that later stage in the game, knowing his opponent is not going to be pressuring anytime soon.
You know, if I feel like in Puma's situation, if you do know that, if you know your opponent's not going to pressure you, wouldn't it be maybe a little bit smarter just to keep those medevacs up a little bit earlier? That way you can get that energy building up, maybe go for some drops, put on some aggression on your opponent. I understand, obviously, getting you know, that stim up in time is going to be very important for Puma, but I feel like perhaps if, you know, what you were talking about, if he does know he's not going to be taking any pressure, maybe he just doesn't need these quick Marauders.
You know, I think what he's thinking right now, he does want to apply a little pressure, and this will give him cover, because then he can take map control immediately, and he will be able to deal with any Colossus at that point, and then get a fast third and just start massing crazy off of that. It's just another style to go about it, because obviously medevacs are good, don't get me wrong, but if your opponent is very strong, they will be able to clamp down on that, and you won't be able to get any good attacks in. Still, I think it's just a stylistic kind of thing. I don't think either of the styles are bad.
Yeah, we do actually see the factory finishing now, so he will be able to get those medevacs up. So not too delayed on that. Looks like the observer from HasuObs does see this army here from Puma waiting outside his base. He doesn't have that many units ready to go, just 3 sentries, 2 stalkers, and a zealot back here. But he will be able to keep warping in. He has that immortal about 3/4 of the way done, so he should be fine, assuming he has some good target firing, some good force fields. I feel like he's going to be fine against this attack. Puma's got to make sure that he doesn't overextend here. If he loses this whole infantry force and doesn't do that much damage, you know, he could be in some trouble if HasuObs goes for a counterattack.
Yeah, the first Marine's going to come in here. I don't think that he's going to continue. That one immortal represents a lot of damage, especially against those Marauders. So we're going to just see him back up a little bit. You got to be careful with those stalkers, of course.
Yeah, he does have concussive shells, so, you know, one attack will prevent them from running away. But stim is not done for Puma, nor is combat shields. So he doesn't really want to engage right now while he's got those upgrades on the way. Looks like HasuObs did immediately take double gas there at the natural. And, of course, he has those Colossi on the way. Range is on the way as well, being chrono boosted. With that quad gas, though, he's definitely going to have a lot available. So I'm curious to see, is he going to go ahead and throw down? No, he's going to go ahead and throw down the Forge. Is he going to throw down a Twilight as well? No, just additional gateways. So perhaps he's just going to start getting some upgrades rolling, maybe go take a third. I'm actually pretty surprised that Puma, you know, such a great macro player, has not already taken a third command center. He's actually just adding on 2 additional barracks right now. So he's going to 5 barracks plus the starport that is double producing medevacs. And this could signal that he's going to be going for some really big 2-base aggression. Yeah,
this is very uncharacteristic, I think, of Puma to see something like this. A lot of times we see him just playing towards the end game, especially on a map like Terminus or Terminus SE, and with cross positions, you don't really see this five barracks type of play with 2 medevacs and no expansion. And look at that, HasuObs is going to get in there and see that there's no third. He wasn't able to see these 2 medevacs, but this probe might be able to.
Yeah, he's very close, and he's on the patrol path. He might walk right around. Actually, he's on a patrol path all the way down there to the third. Let's see if he actually gets to see this medevac. They're actually kind of on the same path, and they will see it. Hopefully, HasuObs noticed that on his mini-map, as of course, you know, it's possible he didn't see it. No, there we go. He did notice. He's sending all of his stalkers over to defend, but there are 2 medevacs. I feel like he needs to send a couple more units as well, just for stalkers. Well, no, he has a lot more stalkers that he walked in there. So
and he's actually going to bait him. Oh, this reverse medevac is going to go down. A huge hit onto Puma.
Great job by HasuObs.
An entire medevac worth load of units.
Yeah, and you know, he just baited him in there by having the stalkers back, ran them forward. Puma wasn't able to react quite in time. Those 8 stalkers barely able to kill off that 1 medevac and 8 marines. Now HasuObs is moving out. He's got 2 colossi with this army, and of course those sentries have been building up so much energy, so he's gonna have a lot of force fields available to him. Puma did have a marine on that Zalaga tower, so that was spotted on the way. So he took out that patrolling probe, so no longer will HasuObs be able to scout for the drop on the way, but he did leave his stalkers at home, so he'll be pretty well defended. But without the stalkers in his main army, I'm not sure how much damage he's actually going to be able to do here.
It looks like these 2 colossi are just going around the map, denying every single form of map presence with those SCVs. Now the medevac is coming in again, but the stalkers are still there. This is kind of a bad situation for Puma. I don't know why he's going on with this. No, he's just going to park out here and chill out. Nope, maybe he is going to attack.
Yeah, it does look like look like he's going to go for it, but of course, you know, HasuObs does have all those stalkers in position, 9 stalkers right there. Puma's actually just waiting right now. Maybe he's just going to leave that there, wait for the right opportunity when he sees his opponent move out, something like that. He is taking his 3rd right now, so it doesn't necessarily have to be aggressive. Obviously, it would be a bonus to start killing some of his opponent's probes, but he already has the economic advantage with that 3rd base there. I mean, he was just majoring, so the income not quite exploding just yet, but the 3rd orbital is now finishing. And once he has those triple mules going on, he should be in a pretty darn good situation. The 3rd is just finished as well for HasuObs, though. So, you know, they're actually looking pretty even. HasuObs has a 10 worker advantage, but of course the 3 mules do make up for that and give Puma the higher income. So they're both actually pretty even right now. Of course, we're going to have to see HasuObs tech up to Templar, essentially. There it is, actually. Templar Archives just completing and Storm immediately coming out. He's going to have that 5 gas. And hopefully that'll be enough for him to actually be able to continue producing Colossi and Templar.
Things are just standardizing out right now. Nothing too crazy. It looks like those Colossi are going to be pretty hard countered against those Vikings once the Vikings get up even more in count. Do we see actually more Vikings coming out? Yes, we do. So we're going to have additional Vikings. I feel like as soon as, you know, that maybe around 14 gets up, that's when it becomes, well, that's when Colossus just get absolutely devastated. Right now, he can probably 2-shot the Colossus, especially in conjunction with that EMP. So he is going to have to switch. That's why we see that HasuObs is really pushing for that High Templar switch. And he already has High Templar making that energy. It's going to be a good advantage when he goes into that first initial battle.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to the micro here, whether he's going to be able to get off those storms, whether the EMPs are going to get off. I mean, look at these full energy sentries that have been sitting here all game. If he can EMP the entire army of HasuObs, he gets the Colossi and the sentries, and if he also gets the Templar, then Puma will be in an absolutely phenomenal situation. But if he can't land those EMPs, if HasuObs has a really good engagement, he gets good force fields and good storms, then just as easily HasuObs could take it. So this is really anyone's game right now, and it's going to come down to the positioning of the armies and the micro.
Yeah, the 4th has been taken for Puma, and HasuObs probably pushing out now at 164. This is a good place to push out. He'll probably just be taking an expansion, I do assume, and it'll be over here as well. And look at that, there's the Nexus that goes down. And literally all he's going to do is take this position, make sure he's absolutely safe, and after he takes that position, he's going to slowly push up, get a 5th base. I don't think he should be being too aggressive on a map like this. Oh, the medevac is starting to mobilize right now, and the units are a little bit out of position, but that's very feedback worthy.
Yeah, absolutely. Look how high the energy is on that. In fact, I'm surprised HasuObs did not warp in 1 Templar with all those Zealots. He does have 1 Templar coming over, but didn't quite get in range in time. Looks like we might have a huge engagement in the center of the map, though. This entire army moving forward towards this 4th base. HasuObs going to be forced to engage right now if he doesn't want to lose that Nexus. He's going to snipe the Nexus, though. Nexus goes down. Nice EMPs on the entire army. None of those Colossi have any shields. None of the army has any shields. The Storm goes down, but now there's only 1 Storm. No, maybe 2. Yeah, 2 Storms left, I believe, right now from these Templar. So Puma still has to be very careful, but if he goes for the engagement right now, it could be a great one due to the lack of shields on HasuObs' army.
Looks like that drop at the 6 o'clock position is doing so much damage. These Marines and Marauders are cleaning up a lot of different probes. Let's go ahead and look at how many killed. 19 total probe kills in that. Really great job. Multitasking is so good by Puma.
Yeah, absolutely. He's somehow even it up. HasuObs had a much larger harvester count. It was like 71 to 57, I think. Now it's 57 to 58. So Puma has evened it up on the harvester count. And of course, with those mules, he will have the income advantage. And with the fact that he got that 4th up with that planetary fortress. So and he denied the 4th of HasuObs. Great move there. And it's understandable why he didn't want to engage, of course, with that army. He wanted to wait till he got his 4th base up. After he had already denied HasuObs' 4th base, there was really no reason he had to engage in that army. Obviously, it might have been a great opportunity since he had already EMP'd everything. But I really got to admire his patience. You know, he's just going to go ahead and make sure that he's got his economy up and running on this 4th base. And then perhaps, once he's got a little bit of money saved up, since he's already maxed, go for that huge engagement to try to kill off HasuObs.
Yep. Puma is at 16 Vikings right now. That gives him the ability to one-shot because he has that +1 as well. He can one-shot all of these Colossus. That makes such a dangerous force. Ghosts are a little caught. I thought they might have been a bit too far forward, but it looks like he wants to do something. Puma wants to do something here. He's just sharking around the map. Here we go.
Oh,
EMPs, no, they don't go off.
What? That? Okay, there we go. There's the snipe on the ghost. Those on the Templar. The Templar and those ghosts were in range for so long. I was so surprised nothing was happening. But we have a huge engagement here. The entire army from HasuObs is stacked up in one giant ball. He needs to spread out his army right now. EMP goes off on the front. Nice feedback on one of those ghosts, but there's still a lot of ghost energy left over. If he doesn't split up that army, could be a lot of trouble. Nice storm. Beautiful storm on the army. Where's the EMP? There's the EMP on the entire army. Will it be enough though? Here comes another storm. Nice dodge by Puma, but he's lost a lot of his army, and he left all of his Vikings in that storm. Oh no, that is terrible for Puma, and now it's 160 food to 110.
Oh man, that was a huge... HasuObs couldn't ask for a better attack right there. He was able to just devastate his opponent. Now, what he needs is to get a huge reinforcement wave, kill off this planetary fortress, or even go directly in for the natural. He doesn't even have to attack that. I'd love him to just sidestep and go directly for the production while he has such a huge army advantage. This is the timing. He needs to do it right now. High Templars getting here. A nice storm again. Storm. Oh, and feedbacks the ghost. It looks like he's going to be bearing down on now the production facilities. Units try to encroach on from behind, but they're not able to get there. GG comes out from Puma. HasuObs is going to take game number 1. You know, and it all comes down to that micro. We say it time and time again, Orb. If you don't get the EMPs off, it can turn a hugely different game. If you don't get the storms off, it can also turn into a different game. We saw really one storm clean up everything. All those Vikings got caught because he like moved command into a particular a place, and it was directly over where that storm went out. All of them went into the red. They died immediately. And now you might be saying, okay, those Vikings don't represent really a lot of damage. No, they don't, but they do give you that ability to have a little bit more longevity, and you can land them to have a little bit of time for you to mass up in your Marines and Marauders. Just that little lull that there exists. Yeah,
there was just way too much cost efficiency there for HasuObs with those storms. They were just perfectly placed. He hit giant amounts of infantry and Vikings at the same time. He had good feedbacks on the Ghost, and it really just came down to the fact that Puma, well, he wasn't in the best position, unfortunately, and he just didn't land the EMPs he needed to. I also felt like, you know, maybe he should have added on a second starport, or perhaps he just overcommitted to those Vikings. 16 might have been just too many for the number of Colossi that HasuObs had, because then he didn't have enough medevacs, man.
Correct. Yeah, to an extent. I mean, I like the fact that he's able to do that, but I think the engagement was incorrect. When you go something like 16 Vikings, you don't actually attack with your Marines and Marauders. You let the Vikings attack, and then you slowly kite everything away, and just let your Vikings keep going. And what you're basically saying is, trade. Right. I'm willing to give up all my Vikings, but you have no Colossus, right. And then you have this huge resurgence of Marines and Marauders and Ghosts that come in.
That's not what he did, man.
But that's not what he did. He sat there,
took a lot of damage from the Colossi with his ground army. You can't do that. You have to be kiting back, so you're not taking that damage before the Colossi are killed.
That's absolutely correct. On top of that, we also see, you know, a great way to see if EMPs are good is not if it's not during the battle, it's before the battle. You want to initiate with the EMPs. That's where they do maximum damage, and your Marines and Marauders are directly attacking the internal structure, or the health. I always say internal structure. I'm a Mech Warrior player from at heart, you know. But you know, that's where you really start doing that. I feel like the EMPs were not as good, and because of that, Puma really suffered in that game. But overall, beautiful play by HasuObs.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go into game number 2 of HasuObs versus Puma. Let's see if HasuObs can take it 2-0 or Puma can come back in this series. Join us. We'll be back after this break.